apologize, we're starting a couple of minutes late. We're just waiting for a couple of people to join. Today, we're going to be talking about lead magnets, in particular for attracting people to education organizations, but it will be suitable for a wide range of businesses and organizations as well. You do have access in the bottom right-hand corner to a chat window, so feel free to interrupt by just asking some questions as we go along. I'll leave plenty of time at the end for anybody to ask some questions about how it might apply to their business, their school, their organization at the end. But I'm very happy for people to ask when we're on a particular slide. So my name is James Digby. I'm the Managing Director of Bright. We support a wide range of organizations and businesses with attracting people, whether that's staff, whether that's customers, clients, learners, parents, students, whatever it might be. So we're applying some of the things that we're seeing from the last 12 months or so to this session. In terms of what this session is actually about in plain English, it's about the fact that we see there needs to be a reason for businesses and customers and clients to engage with you. And the most common issue that we see that clients have is the fact that there's so much out there in terms of marketing. There's so many different opportunities for people to engage with businesses or schools that often that target audience is overwhelmed, and it makes it really difficult to convert those people to become customers or clients or learners. So one really good way to get over that is to use something called a lead magnet. So a lead magnet in a more corporate environment is providing something of value so that you can get the contact details and begin engaging with your target audience. They help to build trust. So it's important that it's relevant for not just your target audience, but the things that you're strong at. They are an opportunity for you to showcase your expertise in a particular area. And they also move people from maybe general or vague brand awareness to actually being engaged with you as a brand and interacting with you, which is a really difficult part of the pipeline and the marketing funnel. You can use this to attract potential customers, but you can also use this as an opportunity to engage with talent pools that are perhaps really difficult to recruit from. So we've seen this work well, for example, within IT. We've seen this work really well within really niche areas where there's a small target audience. It's very hard for say in particular education organizations like schools to engage with those people, so for example cybersecurity or security in general. So they're very, very powerful tools. They matter because we know that people are bombarded so much with marketing, and we know the number of times that people have to see a brand to be able to take some kind of action with that brand has now doubled. So it used to be a year or two ago, it used to be 7 to 8 times, and now it's up to between 13 to 15 times that people have to see marketing before they take some kind of action. A really well-crafted lead magnet can help with enrollments for something like a school. It can help with sign-ups for events. It can start that community engagement. So if you create something, it doesn't just have to be marketed out through paid for media. It can also be something which you can start to engage with your community with. And it will also boost your reputation, but it does have to be of a high quality. So what are we seeing that works? Some of these things you will potentially see as quite traditional. So ebooks, you see less and less of those at the moment. And I think to a certain degree, they stopped working as soon as AI came in, because people were just producing ebooks and guides that were very poor quality, and people stopped trusting them. So producing an ebook or a guide, if you want it to work, it has to be written from scratch. It's not good enough to write something with AI, and it's not engaging enough to be written by AI. People who are using AI a lot, they They recognize it. They know what's AI content and what's not AI content. So if you are going to go for an ebook or a guide for people, then really consider, do you have the time and the resource to write something which is potentially 8 to 12 pages in length that is handwritten from scratch? Webinars and workshops a bit like this. You can do them just as yourself, or you can do them with partners, or you could do them if you're a school with a member of staff, or you could do them with a parent, for example. They take a lot of preparation. There are a lot of things that can go wrong, but they do work really well. They work very well for engagement. They work very well to be able to showcase what you do really well. I've seen this, for example, for schools that struggle with a particular intake, so maybe sixth form. They would bring in the head of sixth form. They would interview them. They'd have conversations, and they'd allow people to ask conversations within the chat window, and it works really well to get engagement, and it works really well to start the ball rolling with those people that might not be 100% committed to investigating you as an opportunity. My personal favorite, templates and checklists. I think they're very, very easy to produce, but you can produce high quality checklists and templates, and you can really add your own insight here. So it's a long time ago now, but I know that during the pandemic, a number of schools were producing checklists and templates to give some structure to parents who were trying to juggle their children learning from home, but also they were working from home at the same time. And those checklists and templates did exceptionally well, because whilst everybody else was panic marketing or they were juggling multiple different things, the schools that were using those things to get engagement were jumping on something that people were searching for. So from a search engine perspective, when people in the local area or even people nationally were searching for guides and templates, it was their branding that was coming up. I've seen quizzes and assessments done really well, and I've seen them done really badly. But assessments in terms of potentially helping parents pick the right school, they're helping potential customers pick the right product or service, can work really, really well. They've got to be professional though. The day of producing things, a bit like BuzzFeed used to produce, where they would kind of tell you what kind of Disney character you are and things like that, they can be really damaging. And I have seen some businesses try to do that and fail spectacularly. So they've got to be professional, but they could potentially help potential customers to pick the right product, pick the right service, or engage with you in the right area. Does anybody have any questions at all at this stage? Perfect. So if you did decide that this was a route for you, the most essential element really is to understand your target audience. Hopefully, many of you on today's session will already do that. But it's well worth kind of repeating the basics here. So identify who you want to reach. Are you reaching students themselves? Are you reaching parents? Are you reaching other educators? Or potentially you're looking to engage people who could act as partners for you. Whatever your target audience, is essential that you truly understand their pain points and their motivations. So it might be that they're looking to save money, or they might be they're looking for something which is better value for them. But potentially that isn't a pain point for them. We see that often in recruitment. People will be talking about free tea and coffee or a particular pension scheme. They won't be understanding that when they're producing content for their target audience, the pain points of that target audience aren't related necessarily to pensions or free tea and coffee or access to a library. So truly understanding those pain points. And if you don't understand those pain points, it's well worth going to your target audience and talking to them about that. And then map out that journey. So from seeing, say, an advert or a post on social media, all the way through to actually converting and becoming a customer. What is that decision-making journey? What different options do they have? Which different routes can they have? as much detail there as possible. I always use something like Visio for that. It's a free Microsoft tool if you have Office 365. And it can just help you kind of produce something which you can come back to and you can realign. And then I talk about kind of good quality content. That is going to be more difficult than you'd imagine. But if you really focus on those problems and those pain points, you'll know that you'll have something which your audience will care about. Offer really actionable insights that people can go and do something with, not just interesting, but actually data-based recommendations that people can go and implement. I've seen for schools, so for example, prep schools, I've seen this work really well with this kind of model of you go and find the data that backs up what you're looking for. Hopefully there is that data. If not, you might want to reconsider what you're focusing on. And then they go and produce something that will help parents. So I know that a couple of prep schools that we worked with, they looked at the data that kind of focused on, is it better to invest in a private education when your child is older or when they are younger? And they use that data to be able to provide guides for their target audience so people could work out what would be better for their particular child. Use clear and engaging storytelling. So you need to start off with whatever lead magnet it is by giving a bit of context in terms of where does this lead magnet sit within what you do as an organization, but also their particular journey to buy your product or your service. And then readability is exceptionally important, but so is design. Keep the design very simple, very easy to engage with. Seen lots of designs where they're focused on something looking really good, but it's very difficult to engage with that lead magnet. So, for example, checklists, keep them clean, simple, something that people can print off potentially or use on an iPad to literally physically tick things off. Everybody in marketing talks about call to actions. They're really important. But without them, it's very difficult when somebody gets to the end of a web page, for example, to know what you should do without kind of a button or some kind of guide. So on that page that you are producing for your lead magnet to hopefully get some contact details for your leads, make it very obvious what happens when people click that button at the end. So if you're running like a masterclass or a webinar, have that button say that's what it does. Ideally, you would have kind of a subtitle below that as well that just emphasizes that benefit. So download our free guide, and then below it could just say something like, and start preparing your child for sixth form or whatever your lead magnet might be. Being concise is going to be very important here, everything being very visible and people being able to see what they need to do, because you've got about 20 seconds when people hit that page to get their interest and to get them to continue further down the page to unlock that lead magnet. Ideally, you would be automating the process so that as soon as somebody has downloaded that guide, you send them an email thanking them for downloading it, but also potentially give them access to a blog or a masterclass or another resource in that email so that you're starting off that relationship of people engaging with your emails. If you've got a CRM or you've got a platform that allows it, try and then update that contacts record to show what they're interested in so that future content is related to what they've been engaging with you. You can then hopefully automate that process in terms of segmenting people into different groups and personalizing any follow-up. So it might be, I noticed you downloaded this particular resource or this particular guide or this particular checklist. We thought you might like to be talking to X, Y, and Z. We thought you might like to know that on these dates, we will be running an open day, we'll be running a virtual event. The worst thing you can do is push for a conversion or a meeting straight away. It takes time to build up that trust. So have 3 to 4 emails in your process, so that once they've downloaded that, you're not bombarding them with come and buy a product or service, come and buy a product or service, but you're building up trust over time. Potentially that's offering them free support and guidance, but it needs to be things that aren't pushing them towards purchasing straight away. So there's some examples here that if anybody did need help and wanted to meet separate to this, we could talk about in a bit more detail, but these are some of the real world examples that we've seen over the last couple of years. We've seen a university offering a free career path quiz for potential students. And it just showed, based on the data of what students from that university had gone on to do, it just showed what all of the possibilities are. But it was a nice way to engage with people. It was quite a fun way to engage with people. We have seen edtech companies trying to generate leads and engagement with their target audience, so kind of heads of department and senior leadership within schools, by producing webinars that were very targeted to the pain points that their target audience had. So 5 ways to boost online learning engagement. And they knew that that target audience really struggled with engagement. And then finally, a training provider providing their target audience with lesson planning template pack, so that people could take some of the things that they had learned in providing training and they could apply them to their own situations. That last one there is just to kind of really prove that sometimes giving away a little bit of what you do isn't the end of the world. I don't think that people are necessarily going to say, okay, we don't need training providers anymore because of that. But it is a good way to prove your value, and to also build trust from your target audience. I'm all about kind of metrics and measuring success. I think without it, it's very difficult. So, for example, we have a lot of resources on our website. Every year and every quarter, we're kind of reviewing different areas of the engagement. So annually, we're going into detail about what people are engaging with, what people are dropping off in terms of the process of downloading potentially or starting to fill in a form for. And from that, it gives us very clear answers. So it gives us clarity about, okay, we want to continue producing content about this because it's getting really good engagement, and we need to stop doing this because it's just basically adding fluff to our website. Simple things like downloads and sign-up rates are really easy to track as well. You can use Google Tag Manager to track those conversions. And if you're then emailing people in terms of the process to convert them after that, it's really important to check that you're getting a good level of opens and a good click-through rate. Depending on whether you've got call to actions that you need people to take there or not, that click-through rate is going to be difficult to benchmark, but hopefully for the email rate, open rate, it's going to be above 40%. You then want to check that people that you have been nurturing through those emails, or 4 or 5 emails, are they actually converting? Are they enrolling? Are they purchasing a product or service? If you're recruiting, are they engaging your job vacancies? If they're not, it might be that it takes a long time to convert these people. So don't necessarily completely stop what you're doing, but just reassess, is this the right thing that we're doing? Are we targeting the right people? Are we targeting the right pain points? And are we following up in a way that at some point leads them to purchase from us? And then check that engagement over time. Does it suddenly drop off after 2 weeks? Are you suddenly bombarding people with too many emails? What is happening over the course of time? What do most people kind of struggle with when implementing this? I think it's a relatively easy concept, but most people in a session like this, myself included, I think, really can get excited about a particular kind of solution to something, but then you're very limited in time and resource. So if you've already got something, or your colleagues are already using things, start there. A number of times I've seen, for example, within schools, I've seen teachers producing guides and templates to help parents. you can be using those on your website to provide benefit to a wider range of people. In terms of low engagement, I can sometimes see people pushing content out to people. That content's not relevant for that target audience, or that target audience isn't narrowed down enough, especially if you're using something like emails. It's better to kind of divide and segment your audience up so that you're emailing relevant content to relevant people. You'll then see better engagement almost instantly. Crowded market, going back to that example of helping parents to juggle work and educating their children at home, that works really well for those initial people. But of course, as soon as everybody started talking about people doing that, everybody else started to do the same thing. And then you ended up with a very crowded market, and people were so sick of seeing those lead magnets that they stopped engaging with them. So even if you are taking an idea that other people have already been doing, consider what's your unique angle, what's your unique voice on that topic. That works particularly well if you're doing it from a particular individual as well. So if you're trying to position a member of the SLT as a thought leader, or anybody within your organization, it works really well to make sure that they've got a unique angle on things. And then that follow-up, I think a lot of people don't follow up enough, don't engage with people enough. Make sure that you follow up and you ask whether people need help with that. So what could you be doing in terms of some of the things that we've seen work well? White papers work really well when you're in a very technical area. So for example, if you're exam board, you might want to be producing something which is quite technical and quite detailed. Webinars work well where you're looking for potential engagement, you're looking to visually show people things, or you're looking to talk through things with people. Ebooks, I think that they will grow in popularity again. I definitely see that they come in and out of favor, and potentially when it is less in favor, you've got less competition, so it's a bit easier to produce. Templates and resources, as I said, have always done really well. Free trials, so if you are ed tech or you're a digital company or whatever it might be, if you're offering a digital offering, free trials work really well. If you're a school, opportunities to come in, perhaps in holidays, to have a trial lesson or to take part in some kind of fair, like a science fair, for example, can work really well. Allowing people to produce, to run through kind of surveys, or asking people questions, and then you producing a report from them based on those results works really well as well. Then training videos, they can work well, but they are very resource intensive. So if you're a school, for example, or you're a training provider, it might be a bit easier because you've got people who are very used to educating. But for other people, they can be quite resource intensive. And then case studies. So people in this situation did X, Y, and Z, and here is the outcome, and this is what you can learn from it. In terms of the elements that I've just been through, so examples one, for me, they are things that you probably have heard about. These are some of the things that I think most people won't have considered. So metrics and data, very, very rare to see people offering that. But if you've got it, if you've got those statistics, you could produce like an infographic, for example, that people could download. Benchmarking is really great. So people can put in their figures and they can benchmark it for their sector or their area or their child, whatever it might be. And then guides to how to do something really practical. You can do those as video guides. You can do those as PDFs. You can do those as downloadable Word documents. Polls and surveys work really well as well. I've seen these work well on LinkedIn, and people have taken those results that they've run over a course of a year. They've produced reports and guides and templates and insights for people. And because those figures and statistics are very related to that target audience, they get really great engagement. Tips and advice, even if these are small little bits that people can kind of gain access to, they do work really well. So for example, it might be advice around a really niche area, or it might be a one-pager with tips and advice for a particular situation that people could download. And then for recruiters, free CV support or free guidance for completing an application form, things like that. Very rarely done, but they add a lot of value to your target audience. So by applying kind of these approaches and trying maybe just one of these things, you'll start to be able to create something which is quite compelling. You'll be able to produce something which is of high value so that people that engage with it are benefiting from it and they're seeing the value of you as a brand. Engaging and converting with your target audience, I think, should be your priority. So tracking those metrics is going to be really good. But you're only ever going to be able to convert those people into customers if you build a lasting relationship with them. So those emails need to be over a large period of time. Perfect. So that was everything for today. Does anybody have any questions at all?